how fast are you able to make adjustments to your comedy material using Comedy Evaluator Pro in real terms?
I think that's been the biggest thing is that, I mean, obviously it's going to depend on, how much stage time you get, but for me, I get up a couple times every night usually, even if it's just an open mic. So, yeah, I mean, I'm able to make, there's two things when it comes to speed. A is just developing material quickly, and we've kind of already talked about that with just the process of being able to dig deeper and continue on the same subject and add tags. And, so just the speed of developing material has gotten much better for me in the fact that, I could turn, one premise or one joke and turn it into maybe 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 7 minutes. But then the other thing when it comes to speed is, like you said, taking the report from Comedy Evaluator Pro and actually putting that into action. And for me, it's a very quick process, but because what I do is, like we talked about before, I use the paper as an editing tool after the fact. So what I do is I'll usually watch the video. I can tell you my process. I'll watch the video in Comedy Evaluator Pro, evaluate it, get my report, get my score. I'll actually put my score on a spreadsheet. I basically say the date, the venue, how many people were there. I put my par score in, and then I write notes on, the energy, what worked, what didn't work, if I like certain things. I put some detailed notes down. Then what I do is I go to the Word document, and I actually, word for word, type out that set, and then I start identifying where the setups are, how many lines of setup, where the punchline is, where the tags are, and then I start comparing that to the report in Comedy Evaluator Pro. So I could say, okay, here's my first minute. This got a par score of, whatever it is. Is there anything in here that can make it better, make it tighter, or is it pretty much, boom, the way I want it? And then if there was a minute where it wasn't really up to par or something lagged in that set, then I really take a look at that and I can tighten it up almost immediately and say, because I guess it's kind of like going to a doctor. I mean, you can diagnose very quickly and say, okay, well, here's the problem. That this punchline isn't funny, or these taglines just didn't get. I'm saying these words, but they didn't get the same. And then I have to go through a whole process of why. Is it just did I not say it the way I normally would say something? Is it just not funny? Or like I said, more times than not, it's the setups being too wordy. So now it's like, okay, I don't need all these words, or I don't need all this explanation. Let's cut it down. So then that's like a one, like I said, I'll do that like on a Sunday, like do all my sets. And, so then like the next day as I go out and do open mics again or do shows, I could put that into practice right away and say, well, here's my new tags, or here's my new punchline, or I'm going to add, or maybe I didn't have enough tags. Maybe it just was like a one punchline and done. And I'm like, wait, I think I can go further with that and scrunch more funny into that. Or if it's a setup problem, I'm able to tighten it and go out immediately and say, well, here's how I'm going to say it. Many times with me, I found, this is the other thing, it's not just the wordiness of the setup. Sometimes the setup or the premise isn't clear. And I think I'll be honest, Steve, I think that's not only one of my problems, but I see that a lot with comedians, is that they have something funny there, but like you said before, if they don't understand the premise, or it's not relatable, or if you're not explaining it clear, it doesn't matter if there's funny in there. You know what I mean?
Sure. So let me pinpoint this. So in how many performances are you able to make measurable improvements? I'm thinking that people listening to this want to progress as quickly as possible. So once they understand Comedy Evaluator Pro, if they know how to structure their material and that kind of stuff, how quickly are you able to make improvements using that tool? I think that's critical.
Well, this is going to sound weird because, as you know, it's a process. You're always evaluating, editing, trying new stuff. It's an ongoing process. But so this answer is going to sound weird, but one performance. If you're asking me, I mean, because let's make the distinction. If you're asking me, can I go out and have everything perfect in one more performance? The answer is no. But when you're asking me, how long does it take to make measurable improvements from the time before? One. I mean, and the reason why I say that is because I'm able to go out and say, and that's why, and I told you earlier how some of the comedians here that see me work at the open mic, they're like, man, I love that. Like, I've heard that bit a million times, but you've done something different, or you added another Well, the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm doing this process that they don't know about. Because I've taken that set from the open mic the week before, and I've shortened some setups, or I've added a tag, or I thought, wait, this premise without getting too wordy, this premise can be a little bit more clear, and I've made those adjustments, so to them, they're like, yeah, I've heard that bit before, but instead of being a bit they've heard a million times, they're like, wow, that was even funnier, or you did something. And they can't even put their finger on it. And the reason why is because I'm going through this process of continually tighten up. So is it going to be perfect in one performance? No. Is it going to be 60 minutes of material in one performance? No. But I can make measurable improvements every single time out. And the reason why that's important is because how many times in the past did I have a bit that would not work, and I kept doing it the same way, thinking it was going to work? And how many comedians have you seen do that, Steve? I've seen that a million times where they're doing the same 5 minutes, and it's like, well, it didn't kill before. Why would it kill 3 months from now? You've made no adjustments whatsoever, thinking that somehow it was going to magically get funnier. You know what I mean? So it's when you talk, I mean, the best word you use is measurable improvements. When you can go out each time, even if it's just another tag or a way to clean the premise up and make it clear, it doesn't have to be like a whole new 5 minutes, but it's measurable. I can then put it through the Evaluator Pro again and say, wow, this went from this score to this score because I made those improvements. I'm not saying you need to do a new 5 minutes every time, but you see what I'm saying? Like, it's measurable results every single time.